The surge in U.S. oil and gas production has been a game changer for our country and for the world. In this new world order, an entire new set of opportunities has arisen, and eToro is leading the charge in attacking and shaping the future. eToro is a Houston-based investment bank with a veteran team of oil and gas professionals. We have built the most technically advanced platform to transact oil and gas assets and raise private capital. Today's technology is so robust, it opens a whole new set of doors. We're busting down the barrier to private capital and have a proprietary relationship with the family office network. Private capital will move quickly to seize the vast opportunities in oil and gas left by the exit of public sector funding. Cash, speed, and knowledge are king. We are sourcing financing for assets that can deliver a coupon plus growth, be it for oil and gas production, oil field services, or midstream projects. Welcome to the future of oil and gas and eToro Capital, where innovation creates opportunity.
And Mr. Dan Pickering, thank you for being here, man. This is exciting. For us, it's our first time to sit down with someone at your level of investing into oil and gas. Now, for context, we are geoscientists. We're young geoscientists. We've been on the drill bit for the last 5 years of trying to unlock these unconventional plays, as well as just find a place in the Permian, the Mid-Con, the lower 48, find a place to put a wellbore that's going to make more money than we spend. Mm-hmm. And we've been on the front lines of that, and we've made the discovery of we got a lot of work to do. It just is not working with just wireline, or our approach right now as geoscientists and engineers to make sure that we have completely de-risked the future wellbore that's being drilled. Not exploitation, but really an exploration, an extension of what's happening, and reading into the data is really, really a challenge. Really challenging. And
welcome to the oil business.
And how long have you been in the oil business? Let's just run that number off the top.
I was a summer engineer for Arco Oil and Gas here in Midland in 1986.
Let's go. That's when I was born.
Yes. So there you go. That makes me feel very old. So however old you are, that's how long I've been in the business.
No, I don't look old. I could be 20.
That's right.
So Arco's where you come out and where you start. Do they change you? Do you go to Alaska at all, or do you?
So, yeah. So I was an intern here in Midland, interned again up in Anchorage, and then went back there, spent 4 years doing reservoir engineering. So
Prudhoe Bay?
I worked the Kaparic field, so Prudhoe's little sister.
That's right. It's to the east? Southeast?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And so we came after Prudhoe, and all those facilities had been put in place. The pipeline had been built, and so as you guys know, everything else gets a lot cheaper once you've got that first big field and all the infrastructure. So, spent 4 years in Alaska. I can tell you that summer in Midland can be tough, but all the time in Alaska was tough for a young guy, and so I was happy to leave when I finally left. Beautiful place. Wow. Just wouldn't want to live there for the rest of my life.
And so when you were going through undergrad and you were getting through and into that position, was it always, did you have that goal set? I'm going to get into Arco. I'm going to get into oil and gas. I'm going to see what's going on. So,
oil and gas was exciting at the time. You'd come off the, kind of the big boom of the 1970s. And I loved math and science and wanted to be an engineer. And petroleum engineering seemed really intriguing to me. And did I have a goal of going to work for Arco? Not necessarily. I just wanted to kind of work in the business. And they recruited on campus. Anchorage felt really cool to go work there full time. That biggest oil fields in the country at the time. And so to get that experience felt like it was going to be a really good opportunity. And it was. So I spent 4 years up there doing that.
Hey, wow. I mean, you're paying your dues, and then on top of that, you're learning internally what's going on in these companies, and now the position you're in. I mean, from most investors that we've talked to working, at our old job,
sure.
I mean, we're talking mostly MBAs, money guys, with zero oil and gas experience. All they can see is that decline curve. Am I going to get my money back? That's the bottom line for them. But actually having an understanding of what's going on internally at these super majors, how has that helped you as far as like picking and choosing different investments?
Yeah, I think it definitely understanding risks. Right, that's what the investment business is all about. It's kind of what all businesses are all about, is understanding risks. And when you have an appreciation for what you see in the spreadsheet, or what that type curve. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into a type curve.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that being able to figure out, what makes sense, what feels like it's been exaggerated, et cetera. I think that helps.
What's your B factor there?
Right, exactly. So it helps.
Yeah.
Now, I'd be the first to tell you that this is a much different oil business than the one in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I always joke that you would not want me on a well today, but when you're thinking about where to invest, it helps to know how the business works.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, you lived through that transition. That's your professional career, is that transition from knowing what was happening in the 80s, 90s to then turning into how do you invest into the future of this business. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So if I can recage that conversation just for a second, I feel like your experience and the timing of you getting an Arco engineering intern position, going to Alaska and being put on the little sister, as you put it, of Prudhoe Bay, and you didn't go into an operation and facilities that was being created. You were going into a process that was being optimized by the creation of Prudhoe Bay.
That's right.
With that experience, you now have a degree in optimization of facilities and operations, and you moved forward with that skill set, and that you build off and got an MBA. You realized how you can optimize everything in the oil and gas, I bet. I mean, maybe, is that what you think led to near success after that?
So I think that when you're 22 years old, you're putting building blocks together. I wouldn't say that any one specific thing turns you into an expert that allows you to go on and be successful. I think that working through what I would call the tough times of the early 90s in the oil patch, you've got the technical understanding, then you've got kind of the reality of what the business looks like and how it works, and you get an appreciation that being an engineer and understanding how things work is fabulous. It's all got to make money.
That's right.
It's all got to fit within the context of, the broader business. And so I think that would be the key takeaway. I would say it was a great start, but you got to keep building on that.
Right on. Wow. Major mentors or significant events that really propelled you through this. Do you have anything off the top of your head that just stands out?
Yeah. So 2 or 3. Indulge me. I'll be quick on each. My grandpa started a telephone company in rural Missouri in the 1950s. And so he was very much an entrepreneur. And so I feel like I learned a lot about business from him. One of the guys at Fidelity, when I went there out of business school, longtime fund manager, he runs the Contra Fund, a guy named Will Danoff, really helped me understand. He really brought it home. Invest in companies that grow their earnings. That was a really very simple, but figure out who's going to make more money and invest in them. I think that was really simple and yet helpful. And then, when I made the move to come down to Houston from Boston, I worked with Matt Simmons for 7 years. Matt was, kind of an icon of energy investment banking, particularly on the oilfield service side. And so I would say all of those guys were definitely influential in crafting how to think about things, both investing and the energy business.
Right on. That was a really good little recap of that. That transitions us and points us and narrows us down right into the fact that there's Pickering Energy. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. Without even understanding the details of the story, just reading the synopsis you get on the website.
There we go.
It's fascinating, and it's an honor to sit down with Dan Pickering yourself. And how did you do that? I mean, it sounds like it's got to be a story of perseverance and and fighting and making that happen. And that, I think, is inspirational. How did this go?
How did we get there? So 2004.
Okay.
Having worked at Simmons and Company for Matt Simmons, I think I decided I was able to figure out that having your name on the door was a pretty good deal. And so At the time, I'd been a sell-side research analyst for a number of years, and I thought that the timing was right to sort of step out on my own, have my own name on the door, because the business was Pickering Energy Partners 15 years ago. There was a kind of a growing movement for independent research, not associated with an investment bank, and so along with a few key partners, I started that business. And the great news is that your relationships travel. And so I'd had a number of clients and friends in the business that supported us as we started the new company. And I think that was super helpful. Wow. Had been in long enough to be established, knew enough people that were willing to give us a shot. And so we were lucky to get clients early. Wow. And then as you step through the ensuing years, the relationships that you develop and the decisions you make. So in 2007, I got together with Bobby Tudor and Maynard Holt, and that's when we formed Tudor Pickering Holt. Ooh. And they built out the investment banking side of our business, and I ran the research business. And I mean, your partners are critical. Mm-hmm. And we've had a relationship for the past 15 years. And continue to have a great relationship today.
So not to stop you, but can you explain the difference between the research side and then the investment banking side?
You bet. So the simple answer is research is about figuring out, when you're looking at public companies, buy, sell, or hold. Do I want to own Exxon? Do I want to sell Exxon? There's a huge cadre of institutional investors who don't have the time to look as deeply into any given industry. And so they rely on research analysts to do that. Mm-hmm. So that was the business we started in 2004. In 2007, I got together with Bobby and Maynard. They'd been doing transactions. So investment bankers help companies either sell assets, buy assets, merge their company, raise money. And the intersection is that public companies are trying to raise capital from institutional investors, pension funds, et cetera. And to do that, a lot of times they want to feel like they're involved with experts. And so the expertise of the research business combined with the transaction side of the business, that's how you wind up helping companies raise money.
Wow.
Okay.
Right on.
So that's a business that we built starting in 2007, and Bobby and Maynard done a fantastic job, got fabulous market share in that area. We've done a ton of transactions, a bunch of stuff out here in the Permian, and so it's been a great partnership.
Wow. And that is perfectly segue to your short presentation and get into the details and really talk to you about how you approach the Permian Basin. I mean, it's going to be fascinating for us on the geoscience side to understand what is it that appears to be making the most money. How do you de-risk this thing? Calculated risk, and we get that, and that's going to be really, really cool. So we'll go into the drill down section of this podcast.